Hello and welcome to Colleague 7 Sprint Review for 18.09.02. This will cover the work undertaken between the 18th of September to the 1st of October. Starting with our sprint goal, and for this sprint our objectives were to refine the email sending process, to use the background service, and to begin the project for integrating Colleague 7 with Broadbean. Looking at the high-level items and to explain further, in this sprint we've been working on moving the email sending features of Colleague 7 into a background service. This is in continuation with our project to move process-heavy functionality out of the UI, which in turn will improve user experience and system performance. This work has now been delivered, but there were some elements which were outstanding at the end of the sprint, and as such it will not be included in the next upgrade. But I have seen it in action, and it has made sending significantly faster and far less prone to connectivity issues or API token expiries. So this will be carried over to the next sprint. We've updated the way the GDPR consent process works so that when you're looking to manually update a record, there is a timestamp to ensure there are no scenarios where GDPR statuses can conflict based on both manual and web link updates. We've introduced the option to undo a removed candidate from a requirement. We've resolved an issue with the way certain histories were being logged against contact records. We've added the option to discard and update for spec CVs. This is to cater for users who wish to log that they've sent a respective CV, but not physically send the email from colleague. We've implemented an interview report and a company league table report, which I'll run through shortly. We've updated the CV sent dial on the homepage to include spec CVs. And we've conducted a review of the Broadbean API in preparation for our planned development. This is to support both the posting of requirements and the retrieval of candidate applications. Work on Broadbean will be undertaken over the course of the quarter. We'll now go through a brief demonstration on the key features from this sprint. Okay, so the first point to cover relates to the spec CV send workflow and the fact that previously when you were doing this workflow, you would always need to actually send the email in order to record the spec CV send. From a candidate record off the submit option, we've got this option here for spec CV send to contact. If we want to do it from a search result to multiple contacts, we'd select this option. It's just one contact. It's just selecting here. And what I'll do is I'll look up a contact here quickly and just hit select there. Now what that does is it brings through the email that essentially would be set to go to that contact with that candidate's default CV attached if you've got that setting enabled, and also then obviously with the option to include other documentation relating to that candidate. So basically you can send that candidate's CV to this contact. But like we have with the CV send functionality from requirements, there can be scenarios where the CV has been sent just straight out of someone's Outlook mailbox, and this is more of a retrospective admin process of wanting to record the fact that you've sent that email. So what we've added is this option here for discard and update, and we've put a tooltip here as well, because discard and update as a naming convention isn't ideal. It's a little bit obscure in terms of what the functionality is doing, but yeah, that's still what we're currently with in terms of that as the naming convention for the functionality, but it's got a tooltip there just to explain that this will discard the email but still log that the spec CV was sent. So this process, by hitting discard, will essentially process the spec CV in terms of recording that the event took place. And then from ongoing workflows perspective, everything is as if you had sent that email. So if we just refresh the candidate, go to the spec CV tab, and you can see there that we've got a spec CV that was sent out today to that contact, and then from there you've obviously got access to the note options, opening the contact, and then creating a requirement from here if the contact was to come back advising that they're interested, and on creating that contact it would automatically shortlist the candidate that you've sent or this candidate record. So that's basically the crux of the work. When you're doing a spec CV send, there's now a discard and update option there to just record it as admin rather than actually physically sending the email. So the next point to cover relates to the requirements and the candidates tab, and specifically workflow to undo removing a candidate from here. So what has been the case previously, and is still the case, is that you can, after choosing to shortlist, longlist, various different candidate records, if you want to remove that candidate from this list, you can tick there, you can select removed candidate. It will advise you that it's going to remove the candidate. You hit OK there, and then the candidate will be removed from the list. You've also got an option here for show removed candidates, which obviously when set to yes will show any removed candidates from the list or from the table. But at that point, that used to be the end in terms of what options you had there. What we've been asked for is the means to be able to undo that removal. Which you can now do. So if you select the candidate you've removed off the candidates list here, you've got undo remove candidates, and then that will simply undo the state of removed against that candidate, and that will restore the candidate back to its previous state, with that be shortlisted or longlisted. It will just take it back to as it was before it was removed. So that's the update we've made there. The next points to cover just relate to a couple of elements relating to reporting, but to start with the CV sent this week dial that you see on the overview. This will be in place as standard. I appreciate some clients may have bespoke dials that they've requested as part of the implementation, but if you have a CV sent dial for showing CVs that have been sent this week, this dial has been updated so that it will include spec CVs moving forwards. In terms of how that will appear, so obviously the number will reflect the number of times that workflow has been run and who's it's been sent to. If for instances where CVs have been sent from a requirement, you'll obviously get the job title appearing there. And in instances where it's been sent from the contact record as a speculative CV, you're going to get the job title being used as the filter to show whether or not it was sent to a single contact or to multiple contacts. And it will advise obviously the contact names that have been sent and the companies that have been sent in relation to that. So that's the spec CV sent dial. The next point to cover relates to the interview report. So from the reports menu option, it will obviously take you through this area where you select a report. What you'll see added is a new option for interview activity. On selection of interview activity, it will load the report controls. And here you can enter in the different options in relation to the criteria that you want to search for looking up interviews that have happened. We'll select a date range here, and I'll pick on a user that I know has some data against it. You've got the include team option in there as a quick way of just including everyone that person works with, again based on the team structure that's in the admin area. You can search by the creation date of the interview or the actual interview date itself in terms of when it's taking place. The requirement status, we'll pick two options there, but obviously you can choose all different requirement statuses that you have, and also the interview type is available here as an option. We'll select everything here, but you could select for a particular interview type should you wish. On running the reports, it will then bring through the details in relation to that criteria, and obviously there you have your columns for the job title that we've been interviewed for, the date and time of the interview, the type of interview, the names, contacts, companies, the type of role. The candidate source is in here as well, just for some ROI, but we've also got a return on investment report that we're working on currently for that. Obviously the creation date, and you also have links in relation to obviously the row. You have a link to open up the associated candidates, the interview, the contact, and also the requirement as well. So you have a means to access the actual records behind this data that you see here. But that's the interview report. The last report to cover is the company league table. So again, just within the reports area of the drop-down list, you'll see company league table as an option here. And on selection of that, you'll be given the criteria options. Now this report will give you an overview on the average performance and a feel for the time it takes to process different workflows with the clients, and also a review on the pipeline that you have with them, and the actual placement revenue that you've been able to book with them as well. So it's an overview report that gives you the ability to really sort by both potential value in relation to live requirements that you have in situ with that company, but also actual value that you have against associated placements that you've placed with that company. From here, you've also got a way of viewing the number of requirements that you have with that company. Again, it's all on the basis of within that date range that you've specified. But you can also see the number of placements made, and in general you can then look to see and filter by and sort by the average number of days it has taken to process a candidate through the various different stages of recruitment workflow whilst working with those companies, to give you a feel for the time that will elapse when working with that company if you're looking to place with them. So this is another reporting mechanism to be able to sort your companies by the activity that you have with them. There are already some ideas and some further ways that we're looking to refine this. So this report will evolve over time further, but this is how things stand currently. So if you want to look at the associated requirements or associated placements in relation to the data, then you click on the show requirement option, and then that will load those requirements beneath the table. So you have the option to view all of those. And obviously see the specific detail behind each of those, and obviously access records as well. So it's a fairly detailed report in that respect. But that's the company lead tail report as it stands. As always, if you have any queries or feedback, please get in touch. I'll be keen to hear from you. Also, for those using Colleague 7, feel free to submit your enhancement requests via the support team or directly to me using the above email address. The next video will be the sprint plan for 18.10.01, and as always that will contain a high-level overview on the items we intend to work on during that sprint. Thanks for watching.